If you're keeping score, this is Coach 10 of the day. Coach 10 is Mark Byington of Vanderbilt University. We welcome Mark to SEC Men's Basketball Media Days. He's a native of Salem, Virginia, standout college player at UNC Wilmington, and has done a remarkable job in his head coaching stops, taking over first a program at Georgia Southern that had experienced 7 consecutive losing seasons. And over the next 7 seasons, he led Georgia Southern to 4 20-win seasons. He walked into a similarly challenging situation at James Madison, inheriting a program that is coming off, or was coming off, 4 straight losing seasons. And then over the next 4 seasons, led James Madison to an 82-36 record, culminating in last year's 32-win, 4-loss record and an NCAA opening round tournament win over Wisconsin. Coach Byington's son Chase is currently a junior in high school, looking at what his dad did. He plays basketball and is interested in pursuing a career in college basketball and perhaps beyond. Vanderbilt University head men's basketball coach Mark Byington.
All right, thank you all. The first thing that I want to make sure that I state is it's an honor to not only coach at Vanderbilt, but to be in the SEC. And people talk all the time about, are you worried about the teams, the top 25 teams, everything else? And the reason I'm at Vanderbilt and in this league is because it's the best, but there's challenges, and it's the best coaches, environments, and I want to be a part of that. And so right now we're trying to build Vanderbilt to be one of the better teams in the SEC and also the country. We know it's a work in progress and how we're going to get here, considering how good the league is. But it's something we're excited about. And we don't run from challenges. I don't. And I'm trying to find guys on my team very similar. And we've had a great practices and preparation up to this point, and then we're a little less than 3 weeks away from kicking it off, and I know we're excited about that.
All right, we'll take your questions. Raise your hand, and we'll get a remote mic to you, and remember to identify yourself and the outlet you represent. So let's start on the third row on the end.
James Fletcher from On 3. Just wanted to ask you about bringing in so many new guys to try to fit into your system, and what's it like X's and O's wise trying to get all of those guys to kind of reprogram themselves and work on your verbiage and the systems that you want to implement versus what they're used to?
Yeah, it's a challenge when you got to replace basically the entire roster. And, I brought one player with me from James Madison, but at the same time, they got to learn not only my system, my style, they got to learn each other. And the way we play is not just running set plays. It's a read-react. It's a conceptual base. And there is a lot to go into that. And so where we are now, we're better than we were last week. And we're better than we were 2 weeks. And we'll keep getting better along the way. And that's why we don't have to be at our best right now. But our goal is to keep getting better along the way. And, it's almost the nature of college athletics right now. There's a coaching change. The natural evolution is guys put their name in the transfer portal, and it did help us on the other end. If we didn't have the transfer portal, we wouldn't have a team right now. But we're able to find guys who had different measures of success, where they were before, and they're excited to be at Vanderbilt, and, we got to try to put them together quickly.
All right, other questions? Let's go to the third row in the middle, and then we'll come down to the front row.
Joey Dwyer, Vandy Sports. A lot's been made over the years of Vanderbilt and that it's a tough place to win, but you've really embraced it and said you expect not a rebuild but to win in year one. What about Vanderbilt makes you so confident that it's ready for that?
Well, I think it's unfair for the guys on my team right now. If I brought in a grad transfer and I said, look, we're going to build for the future, that's unfair to them. And they got 1 year of college athletics left, and I want to make it the best possible I can with them, help them team-wise, help them individual-wise, help make great memories along the way. And there is going to be a building process. You love that continuity, but we're not afforded that right now. And we can't make excuses saying it's going to take time. What we got to do is try to be as good as we possibly can right now with this team at this moment. And I think we got the right type of guys to be successful. How successful, we'll see. But it's going to be a fun journey with them.
Question in the middle down front.
Anthony Christensen with the Whole Hog Sports. Obviously, last season at James Madison, you win over 30 games. You have a lot of success there. How much of an adjustment has it been to move from, James Madison in the Sun Belt to Vanderbilt and the SEC, and just how have you kind of approached handling that kind of move?
Well, the SEC, I haven't had those games and those moments yet. But the big adjustment for myself and really our team has been the recruiting process. And it's not, everybody else is going through it, whether they've been in the SEC or not, but we're just dealing with a whole different animal in recruiting. And so we're trying to get the best talent, the best fit, the best team. And that's where the challenges are. And us getting settled in to our team, our style, our fit, we're working on all that. But I know what's ahead of us when we get to the SEC. It's going to be a monster. It's going to be really tough. But the biggest challenges right now is putting together a roster and then also building a future roster, what we're doing right now in recruiting with the high school players.
All right, raise your hand. Let's go to the third row in the middle.
Obviously, you guys were last in the preseason poll. AJ earlier said that you guys have kind of taken on a chip because of that. Is that something you've seen throughout the team over the last couple of days? Yeah,
I didn't even know when the poll came out. I actually just heard it on the way down here this morning that we were picked last. Look, this is my 12th year as a head coach, and I've been picked every single place possible, first, last, and the good thing is, and I know some people had some votes, is it's not normally right, and there's going to be a lot of things decided between now and then, and if we got to take on an underdog role and a prove people wrong role, that's great. We'll adjust to that. But at the same time, it's not something that we were going to get caught up in. Whatever number somebody else thinks we are, all right, that's going to be a weakness. All right, we're going to try to focus on who we are and the best we can be.
All right, hands up. Other questions? Let's come down here. We got two in the front row. Let's get these two.
Coach Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. For those of us that didn't see you at Georgia Southern or didn't see you except in the NCAA tournament at James Madison, kind of describe for us the way your team plays and the style.
Yeah, I think the first thing you'll notice when you watch my team is the pace. And we're up-tempo. My teams are usually top 40 in the country in tempo. And right now we're probably playing faster than I ever have. It's not something I'm saying we're going to play slower, and we will adjust. But if you watch the tempo of our team, it's really fast. And then at the same time, too, you'll watch our team, and we're going to try to stick with some things, take care of the ball, all right, get the right shot, play together, play the right way. And I always take it as a big compliment. I know coaches always take it a compliment when somebody says how hard your team plays and how much they compete. I want us to make sure that they're saying that about us this year, too. I love it when somebody watches my team and says that. I hope they're saying about our Vanderbilt team, too.
All right, middle.
There's been a lot of talk about, the SEC and the amount of potential bids to the NCAA tournament it could have this season. A lot of talk of potentially even double-digit teams getting into the big dance. Last season you win 30 games at James Madison, and, if you don't win the conference tournament, you might not get in. Is it somewhat of a relief to, get into a league that, maybe is, always going to have multiple bids, and how do you does that change the, approach at all?
Yeah, when you're at a mid-major level, you always have a complaint that we don't have potential for quad one wins, and especially at home. And the SEC is every game's quad one or quad two. And when the leagues are really good like the SEC is, I don't think there's going to be such thing as a bad loss. There's just going to be potential for good wins, and you got to stack them together, get as many of them as you can. But it's a great problem to have for the SEC to have a lot of good teams, and that means there's chances for good wins out there. And I know, the SEC is anxious, and we talked about in our league meetings, for teams to make runs in the NCAA tournament. So, we're going to try to beat each other up in the regular season, and then hopefully, some SEC teams are making deep runs to the Final Four as well. And it is to the point where look, everybody's good, everybody's all in, everybody's committed. And, you can sit there and run from it, or you can try to embrace it and try to do the best you can and figure out. But we're going to figure out how to compete against good teams. We don't have the option of going against bad teams or cupcakes, whatever you want to say it. Like, every team's going to be good. So you better figure out how to be successful in that.
Next question, third row on the end.
Just to go back to your system and integrating new players, how much does that read and react style, the fluidity of it, and those core principles help you to early in the season kind of get the base of it put in, and then once you get that going, then you can kind of put in some of the wrinkles and then some of the sets that come out of that?
Yeah, I hope when you're looking at our team, and you're going to see one team in November, and then hopefully you're looking at us in February, and it's a dramatically better team. And if we're doing our job as coaches and our players are doing their job is learning and getting better, we're going to get there. But I think you're going to watch a lot of teams, not just our newness and Vanderbilt, just have some awkward moments in November. But at the same time, there's so many roster changes with every team. And it does take time. And, I'm not asking for time, but it does take time to figure out how to get guys good and how to figure out how to play together. And because it is a team sport. And just the individual players can't be successful, all right, unless there's a group of them with the same mission, the same principles as them. So you'll see us keep getting better. We've already looking that way in our practices. If you saw us in the first practice, we probably had 40 turnovers and threw the ball everywhere. And now you look at us, and we're getting better along the way, and hopefully we're on that same trajectory throughout the season.
Raise your hand if you have other questions. All right, let's go back to the third row in the middle here.
A lot's been made of your offensive philosophy. Can you just take us through kind of how you developed that and how you figured out that was the scheme you wanted to run when you got into this?
Yeah, my offense is a mix of things that I've seen along the way. I used to be a fan of the Phoenix Suns when Mike D'Antoni was there, and just I thought he was innovative. And then now, if you kind of like look on what I'm watching, it's a lot of European basketball. NBA is getting that way, and so there is analytics involved in what we want to do and how we want to play. But then at the same time, I think it's a fun way to play when we play positionless basketball. Multiple guys can handle the ball. Multiple guys can make plays. And I can't tell you how many times where we were in the spring in recruiting and a player will watch how we play and say, that's how I want to play. And what we want to do is kind of continue that, expand on it, and then keep having, better players along the way because, I'm a good coach, but I'm a better coach when I got better players. And so our styles got to fit the guys we're recruiting, but at the same time, it's our offense is it's pace, it's tempo, all right? It's spacing, it's sharing the ball, and it's playing the right way.
Raise your hand if you have other questions for Coach. Last call. All right, we'll take the last question right there in the middle.
You're getting your money's worth.
Trip's worth it. Obviously, you've got a lot of older guys and obviously a lot of guys who have done things. How difficult is it for you to trim your rotation?
Yeah, it is a challenge. And the thing that we might have as a benefit is I feel like I got 10 or 11 guys can play. And our success might dictate our strength in numbers, might help us be successful. One of the things I looked at when I took the job, I just decided I didn't want to be young in the SEC in year one. And, young guys in college sports and college athletics is tough. I mean, there's still the extra COVID year. There's grown men out there playing. They're 23, 24 years old. And I didn't want to go out there with a bunch of 18-year-olds. And so it's going to change now. The COVID year is going away, and high school recruiting is going to come back more. But at the same time, it's a philosophy of ours to get old as fast as possible.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.